You know, everybody liked the kid in the neighborhood, the school saying he's a great kid, so that's what makes this, you know, so terrible.
She came and said you had a phone call, and it just like, and my kids know, don't come and walk unless it's something important. No, you don't understand. It's blood everywhere. I can't ice him up. He's heavy and he's not waking up.
Most parents don't expect to lay their children to rest indefinitely and wouldn't wish for it to be that way. By the beginning of 2023, Adrienne Rodriguez had lost 2 of hers as her grandchild laid in a hospital fighting for her life. Hey, how you? Make sure you watch this video straight to the end and then check out part 2. Not that any of these cases are simple, but this one is somewhat complex. On August 24, 2014, 13-year-old Nizzear Rodriguez was elated. It was his 13th birthday. He attended a football game, then headed to Applebee's with his family to celebrate. The boy, who was now a teen, was suavely dressed in a new shirt and khakis and ate his belly full. After returning home, he spoke to his mother Adrienne on the phone, and she told him she'd be over as soon as she got off from work. He told her he was going to bed so tomorrow could come quicker. Nizzear also had plans with his grandmother Alice, who had legal custody of him since he was 5 years old. They planned to go shoe shopping so that Nizzear could get himself a fresh pair of kicks.
This is Nizzear's practice thing, but all these are Shaniyah's because she was excellent at track.
The following day, Nizzear's uncle went to wake up the teen to eat when he saw blood and realized the boy wasn't responding. They immediately called 911 and began trying to put the 13-year-old into a car to rush him to the hospital when authorities arrived at Bristol Lakes Apartments in Carrollton, Georgia. Sadly, it was too late. Nizzear was pronounced gone as a result of a discharge wound.
My baby brother, the 17-year-old, he was waking him up to eat, and that's when he seen the blood and all that.
I got up and I always check his room. I'm at a son room, and when I went in his room, but I heard the TV on from in my room because this is my room, his room, and my son room is on the 2nd floor. And I said, Nigel, you left the TV on again. And usually he will jump up and say, I'm sorry, and turn it off. But you know, it didn't even dawn on me. He didn't even get up to turn the TV off. And then when I went downstairs to come out the door, I saw my door like it was cracked. So I have my other son stand on the 3rd floor. He's 22. And I called him on the phone because he was at the club too.
So you had already left, or you were still here?
No, I was still here because my son, I took my car, he went to the club, I guess we were at that Waffle House. So I called him and said, you gonna come and get me? He said, I didn't know you were walking to that Sunday. I said, yes. I said, you left my door cracked, you didn't shut it all the way in. He said, yes, I did. I said, no, you didn't, you didn't shut my door. And then, you know, I couldn't put it all together, but then I realized now, you know, after all of this happened, you know, what happened. But anyway, and I've been at work working. I took my lunch, I came back on the line, and my line lead, she came and said you had a phone call, and it just like, and my kids know, don't come and walk unless it's something important. And then my son Angelo, he said, Mommy, you gotta come home now because Nigeria is bleeding and I can't pick him up. I said, well, he usually have nosebleeds sometimes. So I said, one kid, just wipe his nose off and put his head back. I said, I'm at work. And says, why are you shouting in the phone? And he said, no, you don't understand. It's blood everywhere. I can't ice him up. He's heavy and he's not waking up. And I lost it. This is his room. I'm packing up his stuff. The mattress is not here to took it off. These are his shoes. And this is his TV that was on. It was still right here. And this is his bed. So if he was laying his head this way, that way, and then right here.
What happened? Who did it? When? Many questions came to the minds of family, law enforcement, and the community. Neighbors said they heard discharge songs between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., but authorities believed the television in the home may have drowned out the sound. Nizzear was scared of the dark and liked to keep his television on while he slept. Police originally believed it to be a drive-by incident. However, they quickly realized that the assailants went into the boy's room and committed the horrendous act. Hours following the senseless incident, 17-year-old Malik Davis was charged with fatality, burglary, and firearm possession after his mother convinced him to turn himself into police. He was already on probation at the time. Witnesses told investigators that Davis had been seen in the complex hours before the incident while waving a firearm and looking for someone. He apparently had past encounters with other residents in the area. Police also confirmed they served a search warrant at the townhouse next to Nizzear's home on the same day of the incident and made several arrests for assaults and possible gang activity. Authorities said the police had never had any interactions with the victim, who was described as a top student who helped neighbors cut their lawns. Nizzear's family and other neighbors told the media that the community had been troubled by gang activity in recent years. Prior to his passing, Miss Alice was making plans to move the family because the area was so dangerous.
He had just came in the house crying because he's seen some people pulling guns out, and the cops and stuff were out here then, and he was just crying about it, and she was like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, she has custody over him since he was 5.
All right, so what can you tell me about him?
All around kid. He was smart, intelligent, he always smiled, and he loved to play basketball, and at the church, around the neighborhood, he was always willing to help others. He was just a bright child. Never got in trouble. Never hung around the wrong crowd. He was just a bright child. Still scary. I still don't believe it. My fiance mom called me, and I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I tried to call my mom and stuff, and it was true. I came out here, and it was true. But I still can't believe it. It just seems like he's just still here, but he's just outside playing somewhere. That's just what it feels like. And I'm just waiting on him to come back in the house. Every time the door opens, I just think he's just going to come in and say, Kanisha. Because if he sees my car, he runs in the house and speak to me and run back outside and play. And if I got my stepson, he's like, can I go? Can I go with y'all? And if I'm off work, I'm like, yeah, you can go. And he was with me all Saturday till 3:30. Went to the Carrollton Trojans football game in Powder Springs. Then we went out to, out to eat. We went to Popeye's Chicken, and we just spent time together. And the last words I said was him. He gave me a shirt that I let him wear. And he was like, here's a shirt, thank you for letting me wear it, because he came over with a long sleeve shirt on. And I was like, oh, your Nana gonna get you. I said, she ain't gonna get me. I said, you ain't gonna wear this shirt with me. You ain't gonna get me in trouble. Like, thank you, Kanisha. He always told me, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything. And all I said was bye. All I said. I said, bye, Nizzear. I didn't tell him I love him, because I thought I was gonna see him again. I'll get to see him again one day.
Principal Dr. Todd Simpson described Nizzear as a wonderful student who was well liked and always smiling. 2 days following his passing, friends gathered outside the townhouse, hugging and wiping away tears. The community walked down the street and sung gospel songs. So overwhelmed, the woman who raised him for most of his life fainted. At a Carroll County football game later that week, a crowd full of students and faculty also honored Nizzear.
Yes, Lord, I give myself away so you can use me.
We're hurt, but we forgive. We're all got kids, you know. You have to forgive. If you keep trying to figure it out and if you keep holding on, then God is not going to come in. He's not going to reach out. So it's in God's hands, and I know Nizzear's in a better place.
I smile, even though it hurts, yeah, I smile.
While police initially said the teen's life had been taken while he was asleep, some family members believed he was still awake, excited from celebrating his birthday. Kenneth Reith was one of 3 additional suspects arrested 2 days following Nizzear's passing. He too was charged with fatality and burglary. 24-year-old Jacqueline Leanne Freeman was also charged with fatality. At the time, police said she was suspected of driving the getaway car. Additionally, 34-year-old Olida Ward was charged with hindering the apprehension of a suspect. Investigators had seized and processed a 4-door dark green Honda in an effort to find more evidence to tie Davis, Wheat, and Freeman to the incident. Authorities said that each of the suspects were at Westside Bar and Grill in the hours preceding the end of the teen's life. The males were ordered to be held without bond, while Ward, police said hid the other suspects from them, was granted a $10,000 bond. Upon her release, she told media sources that she didn't have anything to do with the incident. Shortly following his arrest, Wheat's family spoke to media sources and made it clear that if the 21-year-old was responsible, it would be inexcusable. Not long before Nizzear's passing, Kenneth was released from prison after serving 4 years for aggravated assault after he fired at a vehicle while someone was inside. 21-year-old Britannica Turner was the 5th person to be arrested in Nizzear's case. Later that week, she was charged with making false statements. As days passed, law enforcement continued to investigate in hopes of determining a motive. Soon after, they had inferred that one reason may be due to an incident which happened at Westside Bar and Grill an hour or 2 prior. Police said Davis and Wheat may have gone to the home seeking retribution for a fight. While neither of them lived in the neighborhood, it turned out that both men were known to the family. Nizzear's grandmother used to cut Davis's hair, and Kenneth was actually a frequent guest at their home. Miss Alice had fed the young man on several occasions. Authorities said that during the interrogation, Kenneth asked to speak with Miss Alice, and as she entered the room, the 21-year-old began apologizing profusely and asked for forgiveness, to which Miss Alice said she forgave him, but he would have to tell her what happened. Nizzear's grandmother said, "We confessed to her that he and Davis went inside." The man said he realized they were in the wrong house, and the 21-year-old claimed to inform Davis of such. Reed said he turned around and left before Davis continued upstairs. Following this, the judge still found that there was not enough cause during the hearing, so the case could not go before a grand jury, but the 3 main suspects, Malik Davis, Kenneth Wheat, and Jacqueline Freeman, were ordered to remain in jail without bond. By mid-April 2015, Davis still hadn't been indicted, thus exceeding the 90-day legal limit. His bail was set at $100,000, and he was required to come up with 15% of that, be under house arrest, and wear an ankle monitoring bracelet. Miss Alice was outraged, and it only got worse when the assistant district attorney asked the judge to require Malik to get his GED while out on bond. The heartbroken grandmother stated that she would never get to see Nizzear graduate, go to prom, or start a family. She went as far as meeting with the district attorney, Peter Skandalaskis, about assigning a new assistant DA. His response? That he had significant confidence in his attorneys and prosecutors don't allow victims to make the call about who gets assigned to a case and who doesn't. Peter claimed the delay was because it was a high-profile, high-priority case and they wanted to be thorough. A homegoing service was held on September 5th, 2014 at Tabernacle Baptist Church. Hundreds of family members, friends, and community members gathered wearing white and blue to pay their final respects as they comforted one another. The family pastor said white was sacred and blue was Nizzear's favorite color. The service lasted more than 2 hours with a long list of speakers, including 3 of Nizzear's teachers, a basketball coach, and Carrollton City Councilman. As the wheels of what the family hoped would be justice began to turn, more details, including the very different reasons given by those accused, were further revealed. Kenneth had told police he thought they were going to the house to meet girls. Meanwhile, Malik told police he never went to the house. Investigators had found 3 witnesses who put Davis at the scene, including the person who police said drove him to the neighborhood. That same witness told police he saw Davis with a firearm and kicked him out of his car only feet from Nizzear's house. It was clear each defense attorney planned to pin the blame on the other defendants. Wheat, who officers described as upset and very remorseful, agreed to testify against Davis. He acknowledged being in Nizzear's home, but claimed that Davis was responsible for the fatal discharge. The investigation appeared to experience quite a few hurdles. Witnesses apparently weren't forthcoming with details, and their stories apparently changed. According to testimony, 2 witnesses who were 2 houses away saw both Wheat and Davis minutes prior to the incident. As implied earlier, there appeared to be an ongoing disagreement between Davis and another individual who it turned out lived right next door. The witnesses said Davis had kept asking where the individual was, where he had moved to, and questions along those lines. A little over 3 years after Nizzear's life tragically ended, a jury found 10th grade dropout and accused discharger Malik Davis not guilty of the 2 most serious charges. He was convicted of burglary and faced up to 20 years behind bars. Following the verdict, the teen's family indicated that though they were upset, they had chosen to continue leaning on their faith. Especially because Malik was acquitted of the fatality charge, it is important that I also include this information. Unfortunately, I have not been able to access the case files, which I am sure may provide more information. Who am I kidding? Definitely would provide more information. In September 2014, Malik Davis's mother, Latasha Montgomery, did multiple interviews on a radio show. By this time, a preliminary hearing had taken place, and the mother had written down 14 questions about the case. Now, I know that these cases evoke a lot of emotions, and rightfully so. We're talking about the loss of life and sometimes multiple lives by tragic means. Latasha's first concern was with the male witness who said he dropped Malik off and claimed the teen had a firearm which he put on his leg. The mother asserted that her son and the witness did not like each other and wouldn't have been riding around together. Next, she touched on Kenneth Wheats, whose story she said changed significantly. The man had told authorities him and Malik were supposed to meet women, but apparently he also said that he was with a woman who said she had to go pick up someone, the person being Davis. Latasha referenced Kenneth's testimony that Malik asked to stop at the Rodriguez home, asking why they did not find that strange. Wheat also said the doors opened and they entered unannounced and uninvited. The door being unlocked in a dangerous neighborhood at 2 a.m., the mother found that baffling, but not as much as her wondering what explanation did Malik supposedly give the other 2 when he came back downstairs, and where did they go next. When I began this channel, it was not my intent for it to be a commentary channel. By the way, let me know if you guys would like a true crime commentary channel. But this channel is about honoring these young lives and telling their stories. So again, with everything said, it is not my intent to sway or prejudice, anything along those lines. And that is why I try my best not to have a bias with these cases and to just present the information. Ultimately, Malik was sentenced to the maximum of 20 years on the burglary charge. Kenneth Weath pleaded guilty to burglary in exchange for the state dropping the fatality charge and received a 20 to 40-year sentence. Nizzear's father, Kyle Balson, described him as an intelligent boy who had a vision for his life. They had planned to go to an arcade to celebrate his birthday later that week in 2014. Nizzear was a straight-A student who'd earned the nickname Jimmy Neutron for his quick math skills. In October 2014, the city renamed Chancery Lane the street where Nizzear lived in his honor. That wasn't all. A once dilapidated playground underwent a makeover and received a new name, the Nizzear Rodriguez Memorial Park. City Councilman Gerald Bird said it was the final stretch in a year-long playground rejuvenation project, and putting Nizzear's name on the park was the icing on the cake. Carrollton City Schools also introduced the Nizzear Rodriguez Memorial Scholarship as a tribute to the teen. A year following his passing, the Carrollton community celebrated his life with Nizzear Day. City leaders spoke of their hope to turn the horrible tragedy into a positive change. For what would have been his high school prom, a friend of Nizzear's honored the teen with a matching outfit, sending a reminder that his memory lives on. His grandmother, Miss Alice, spoke of how hard it had been since losing the teen. The first day of school, he would have been entering the 9th grade, but she'd never see him do so. Though she previously intended to move, the grandmother said she couldn't bring herself to do so because she'd feel she was leaving him behind. It was evident that Nizzear's passing left an everlasting effect on his family and community. And I must genuinely say, this specific case has left me with a very unsettling feeling. One that I don't know how else to describe it. I'm not even going to edit this part of the video. But when I tell you that this case, no, none of the other cases, of course, have left me feeling happy. You may feel a sense of, gratitude that justice was solved. But the level of unsettlement that I feel in my spirit after covering this case, I just have no other words. But this is a double upload, so be sure to check out part 2 in honor of Nizzear's sister, Shaniyah. I do hope that the family and friends of Nizzear Rodriguez find solace in the happy memories and may his soul rest in perpetual peace. Thank you.